I was in a book. The scene before me was incredibly familiar. Polished marble floors reflecting the light like mirrors, a luxurious living room with 30-foot ceilings, and sitting across from me, a woman so beautiful she didn't look real, with an aura as cold as the peak of Everest. Elena Sterling, my contract wife, and in this male fantasy novel, the tragic supporting character who initially treats her husband like dirt gets destroyed by the protagonist later and ends up bankrupt. And I was the unlucky host, Ryan Cole, a man who married into the wealthy Sterling family, lived a life lower than the family dog, and was eventually tormented to death by Elena's high school crush. Right now, I was holding a document, divorce settlement agreement. The plot was in motion. The original Ryan had calculated that Elena would be distracted by a massive business deal today, intending to use another document as cover to trick her into signing this one. He thought that once he had the signed agreement, he could walk away with a chunk of change. Instead, in the original story, he gets humiliated by the male lead, Julian Thorne, and leaves with absolutely nothing. I looked down at the agreement. Party A, husband Ryan Cole. Party B, wife Elena Sterling. After amicable negotiation, the husband voluntarily waives all rights to the division of marital assets. My twitched. Good Lord, this guy was the ultimate simp. Even his divorce is pathetic. Leaving with nothing? Is he joking? The toilets in the Sterling mansion are gold-plated. If I pried a piece off, it would be worth more than my entire previous life. Across from me, Elena was reviewing a project report. She didn't even look up, her voice matching her personality. Absolutely zero warmth. Where's the other document? Bring them both here. Here it comes. This is the moment. In the original book, Ryan would slip the divorce papers inside the project file and hand it over. I took a deep breath and then, right in front of her face, I tore the divorce agreement into confetti. Rip it up. Rip it all up. What am I saving this for? A souvenir? Divorce is fine, but leaving empty-handed? No way. I want half the estate. Then I'm going to find a nice place with a view, do absolutely nothing, cook good food, hit the gym, maybe brew some craft beer. Isn't that better than being a doormat? Although this Ice Queen wife is seriously gorgeous. Her figure is insane. Too bad she's blind. She can't see a potential blue-chip stock like me and prefers that hypocrite Julian Thorne. Whatever. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why get hung up on one flower? Once I get my settlement money, I can date whoever I want. Living the bachelor dream. Won't that be sweet? While I was mentally roasting everything in sight, I tossed the shredded paper into the trash can with basketball pro precision. Job done. I leaned back into the Italian leather sofa, getting comfortable. What document? There isn't one. I looked at that project file, by the way. There are a few fatal loopholes. I wouldn't sign it. I made it up on the spot. I'm just a useless trophy husband anyway. She wouldn't believe a word I said. However, the expected ridicule and cold shoulder didn't come. I waited a while, hearing nothing, and curiously looked up. I saw Elena's fingers tighten around her fountain pen, the nib scratching a harsh line of ink across the expensive report. On her face, that eternal mask of ice, a crack appeared for the first time. Her beautiful, sharp eyes were staring dead at me, filled with shock, confusion, and a trace of bewilderment I couldn't read. Huh, what's with that face? Was she intimidated by my alpha energy when I ripped the papers? I guess it makes sense. The old Ryan was always cowering in front of her, like a scared puppy. Now that I've suddenly grown a spine, she's probably not used to it. But I have to say, she looks kind of cute when she's shocked. Her eyes are all wide and round, not looking down on people like usual. Elena's breath seemed to hitch for a second. She looked at me, her lips moving, but no sound came out. Because in her head, a voice completely different from the lazy expression on my face was echoing loudly. A snarky, vibrant voice. That voice was my inner monologue. She could hear it. Right now, a tidal wave was crashing through her mind. What is this man? Thinking, giving up assets? Half the estate? Doing nothing? Bachelor dream? And he called Julian a hypocrite. The most ridiculous part is, did he just call me cute? The barrage of mental shocks caused this high-powered CEO to completely short-circuit. She looked at the familiar man in front of her and felt like she was seeing a stranger. Was this still the timid Ryan Cole who was too nervous to speak in her presence? Why were his thoughts and his actions two completely different people? Elena finally found her voice, though it was a bit dry. You just said the project has loopholes? I lazily lifted my eyelids. Yeah, the risk transfer in Clause 3 and the profit distribution in Clause 5 are total traps. Anyone who signs that is an idiot. I was just repeating the plot from the book. This project was a trap set by Julian Thorne specifically to screw over Elena. The original Ryan, trying to suck up to her, had actually urged her to sign it. Whatever, you won't believe me anyway. I'm just talking to hear myself speak. When Julian screws you over, you'll realize who is actually on your side and who is the wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't come crying to me then. Although, by that time, I'll probably be sunbathing on a private island somewhere. Crying won't help. Elena's knuckles turned white as she gripped the pen. She stared at me, as if trying to see through my soul. This man not only knew about the project she was about to sign, but he also knew the specific clauses, and he predicted she would be scammed. How was that possible? This project was led by her and Julian. No one outside the core team knew the details. How'd a husband that everyone looked down on know this, unless he had been playing the long game? Pretending to be a fool to hide his brilliance, an absurd thought began to grow wildly in Elena's mind. She fell silent. After a long pause, she pushed the multi-billion-dollar project report aside and picked up another file. The backup copy of the divorce settlement agreement that I had just ripped up. She looked at me and said, word by word, I'm not signing it. Not signing. I was stunned. That's not how the script goes. Did I look too cool ripping the papers? Did she fall for me? That can't be right. Doesn't she despise me? Elena looked at me with a poker face, but only she knew that her palms were sweating against the pen. She heard it clearly. This man not only admitted his attraction to her in his head, but also narcissistically thought he had charmed her. More importantly, he mentioned a script. What did that mean? A sense of absurdity and impending crisis she had never felt before enveloped her. Why not? I couldn't help asking aloud, breaking the weird silence. I said I'm not signing, so I'm not signing. Elena recovered her CEO demeanor, her tone leaving no room for argument. Until you prove what you said is true, this agreement stays unsigned. Prove? Prove what? Oh, the loophole thing. Sure, it's only a matter of days anyway. When the news breaks, you'll see just how much of a scam artist your white moonlight crush is. Perfect, actually. I'll just stay here in the mansion, eating your food and drinking your wine. Consider it a paid vacation. This place is way more comfortable than a rental apartment. I shrugged, acting indifferent. Suit yourself. I stood up and stretched, my shirt lifting to reveal a glimpse of tight waist and abs. I could feel Elena's gaze pause on my waist for a second. Hell, look at that. Claims she's not interested, but she's checking me out. If you crave my body, just say so. We're all adults here. Clang. Elena slammed her fountain pen onto the desk. A suspicious blush rose on her cheeks. Her eyes darted away as she snapped. Get out. I curled my lip and turned to leave, angry from embarrassment. TSK, TSK. Women. After I left, the living room fell into a deathly silence. Elena pressed a hand to her racing heart, breathing heavily. In her 20-some years of life, she had never lost her composure like this. That man, the husband she hadn't bothered to look at twice in 3 years of marriage. The shock he gave her today was greater than all the corporate battles of the last decade combined. In her voice, script, playing the fool, she picked up the phone and dialed her assistant. Immediately, reevaluate the Project Star collaboration with the Thorne Group. Specifically, look at the 3rd and 5th clauses. I want a detailed risk report. Hanging up, she looked at the pile of confetti in the trash can. Half the estate. Date whoever I want. Elena's eyes grew cold. You want a divorce? You want to take the money and run? You want to find other women? Ryan Cole, I'm going to find out exactly what game you're playing. I went back to my room, feeling fantastic. Even though the divorce didn't happen, avoiding leaving empty-handed was a victory. Now, I just had to wait for Julian Thorne to implode. Elena would naturally trust me then, and bringing up the divorce and asset division would be smooth sailing. Humming a tune, I started rummaging through the closet. The original Ryan was truly broke. Aside from a few cheap outfits, he had nothing. Whatever. Let's hit the gym. This body has good potential. 8-pack abs V-line. Can't let go to waste. I changed into sportswear and headed straight for the mansion's private gym. I had been running for less than 10 minutes when the gym door was pushed open. A man walked in wearing a perfectly tailored suit and gold-rimmed glasses, looking like a refined gentleman. Julian Thorne, Elena's first love, and the culprit who ruined the original Ryan in the book. When he saw me, a look of undisguised disdain flashed in his eyes. Ryan, you still have the face to stay here? I heard you try to trick Elena into signing divorce papers again today. You really never change. I stopped the treadmill, wiped my sweat with a towel, and didn't even look at him. Speak of the devil. Here comes the famous hypocrite, Julian Thorne. Looks like a gentleman, but he's rotten to the core. In the book, to get Elena, he not only framed me, but also secretly embezzled assets from the Sterling Group, eventually bankrupting the family. Elena really is blind, ignoring a blue-chip stock like me to fawn over this guy who's gold on the outside, but trash on the inside. I couldn't be bothered to talk to him, so I moved to the weight section. Seeing me ignore him, Julian's face darkened. What he hated most was Ryan's dead pig doesn't fear boiling water attitude. A moocher trying to work out? What? Thinking of using your body to please Elena. His words were dripping with insult. I stopped walking and looked back at him. This idiot. Reverse psychology doesn't work on me. If I hit him, that love-struck Elena will think I'm jealous and deduct points for my settlement. Don't hit him. Don't hit him. A gentleman uses his words. Or his thoughts. I'll just curse him out of my head. Look at his pale face. Kidney deficiency, maybe? Wanting to recommend a good herbalist? Guaranteed to fix you right up. I was happily roasting him in my mind, unaware that a figure was standing quietly at the gym entrance. Elena had intended to see what I was doing, but as soon as she arrived, she heard Julian's provocation. She was about to speak up when my vivid inner monologue flooded her brain. Embezzled assets, bankrupt the family, kidney deficiency. Elena's pupils shrank. She looked at Julian, and for the first time, her gaze held scrutiny and suspicion. Julian, meanwhile, was still yapping away. Why aren't you talking? Did I hit a nerve? Loser. Just then, Elena's cold voice came from the doorway. Julian, have you said enough? Julian froze. Seeing Elena, he immediately switched to a gentle smile. Elena, I just couldn't stand it. I want to say a few words on your behalf. My husband doesn't need you to lecture him. Elena walked in and stood right next to me, her tone dropping to absolute zero. Also, in the future, don't come to my house without my permission. Julian's smile froze on his face. I was confused too. What's happening? Did the Ice Queen have a personality transplant? She's actually defending me? Did the sun rise in the west? Or did she finally realize how great I am? That must be it. She's overcome by my charisma. I knew it. Gold always shines eventually. Hearing my incredibly narcissistic thoughts, the corner of Elena's mouth twitched. She took a deep breath, suppressing the urge to smack me, and looked coldly at Julian. Please leave, Mr. Thorne. The eviction order was clear. Julian's face went from green to white. Finally, he shot me a hateful glare and turned to leave. In the gym, it was just me and Elena. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. I looked at her, and she looked at me. Why is she staring at me like that? Don't tell me. She really fell in love with me? What do I do? I'm not ready to be a real husband. I just want to retire early, Elena. She felt her blood pressure rising again. What on earth goes on inside this man's head? Elena's eyes were like two sharp ice picks, scraping back and forth over me. I was getting a little creeped out. What is wrong with this woman? Just a second ago, she was defending me. Now she looks like she wants to stab me? Flipping faster than a book page. Whatever. A good man doesn't fight with women. I'll be the bigger person. I cleared my throat, breaking the silence first. So, if there's nothing else, I'm going to get back to my workout. Elena squeezed a few words out through gritted teeth. Just said, Project Star has loopholes. She didn't use a question mark. It was a statement. My heart skipped a beat. She actually believed me? No way. Are love-struck brains that easy to fix? Is it possible my alpha energy is leaking out, making her trust me unconditionally? Yeah, that must be it. On the surface, I kept my cool and nodded. Yeah, like I said, the risk transfer and profit distribution are sketchy. Working with Julian Thorne? Careful you don't get sold and end up thanking him for it. I said it casually, like I was discussing the weather. But to Elena's ears, it was thunder. Because just moments ago, her assistant had sent the emergency report. The content of the report matched what I said exactly. In fact, the assistant's analysis wasn't even as cutting as my internal monologue. That Clause 3 looks like shared risk, but it actually pushes all potential regulatory and market risks onto Sterling Corp. If the project tanks, Thorn Group walks away clean, and Sterling gets saddled with massive debt. In Clause 5, the profit split looks like 50 to 50, but there are so many preconditions attached. After all the deductions, Sterling would be lucky to see 20%. Julian, that son of his heart is black. Cold sweat trickled down Elena's back. If Ryan hadn't warned her, she might have actually signed it. The consequences would have been unimaginable. The way she looked at me became incredibly complex. Shock, confusion, curiosity, and a trace of something she didn't even realize. Reliance. This husband she always thought was a waste of space seemed to be hiding a side she knew nothing about. Who was he really? How? Did you know? She asked with difficulty. I spread my hands and started making things up. Lucky guess. Your husband might be unemployed, but I did graduate from a top university. I have some basic business logic. Yeah, right. If I told you I transmigrated into a book, you'd commit me to a psych ward. Just keep misunderstanding. Think I'm a hidden business genius. This damn charm of mine. Nowhere to hide it. Elena, she didn't want to dwell on why she could hear his thoughts anymore. Right now, she just wanted to pry open his skull and see how many secrets were hiding inside. I'm killing the project, Elena said, taking a deep breath. Oh, I replied, acknowledging it. Good, kill it. My peaceful life gets extended a few more days. Elena looked at my indifferent, salty fish attitude and felt a surge of irritation. She was out there working her tail off, almost getting scammed into bankruptcy. And here he was acting like it had nothing to do with him, but the person who saved her happened to be him. It was a frustrating feeling. She wanted to say something, but didn't know where to start. I'm hungry. I rubbed my stomach, cutting her off. Working out makes me hungry. I'm gonna go cook. With that, I walked around her and headed straight for the kitchen. Elena stood there, watching my back, falling into a long silence. The mansion's kitchen was open concept, fully equipped with top-tier gear. TSK, the life of the rich. This fridge is bigger than my bedroom in my past life. I rummaged through the refrigerator. Not bad. A 5 Wagyu Australian lobster, fresh matsutake mushrooms. Fully stocked. I'm in a good mood today. I'll show off a little. Let's make beef bourguignon. It's a hassle, but hey, good mood. I had already dismissed the Sterling family chef to go rest. I was alone in the kitchen, busy but happy. Prepping the beef, chopping vegetables, reducing the wine. My movements were fluid, filled with a pleasing rhythm. In my past life, I was just an average corporate drone, but my only hobby was studying food. I mastered cuisines from all over the world. Before entering the book, my biggest dream was to open my own private kitchen restaurant. Unexpectedly, that dream was being realized here. Even if there was only one customer, and she was an ice queen. 2 hours later, a rich, dominating aroma wafted out of the kitchen, instantly conquering the entire mansion. The scent was layered, robust, and warm, making anyone who smelled it instantly ravenous. Elena, who was working in the study, was distracted by the smell. She frowned, stood up, and walked out. Then, she saw a scene she would never forget. The setting sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, gilding the tall man's figure in gold. He was wearing a simple white t-shirt, sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing the solid lines of his forearms. He was staring intently at the Dutch oven on the stove, his expression gentler than she had ever seen. It wasn't a disguise, nor was it acting. It was a genuine love and respect for food. In this moment, he didn't look like a useless son-in-law, nor a business genius, and certainly not a rogue full of dirty jokes. He looked like an artist creating beauty. Elena's heart skipped a beat, uncontrollably. All right, time to serve. I lifted the heavy lid, and an even more intense aroma burst forth, almost tangible. I ladled a bowl and tasted it. Not bad. The beef melts in your mouth. The sauce is rich, savory, but not greasy. My skills haven't faded. Too bad I'm eating alone. The Ice Queen is probably still mad at me. Definitely won't come down. Whatever she doesn't eat, I eat. This huge pot is enough for 2 meals. I was just about to take my bowl to the dining room to enjoy it solo when I turned around and saw Elena standing at the kitchen entrance. She just stood there quietly, looking at me, her eyes complex. I paused. You want a taste? I asked, driven by some unknown force. Elena didn't speak. She simply walked in, took a delicate white porcelain bowl from the cabinet, and held it out to me. Action speaks louder than words. I curled my lip and ladled a serving for her too. The law of true fragrance works on everyone. Mouth says no, body says yes. Holding her bowl, Elena heard my thoughts, and her hand trembled slightly. She glared at me, but the look lacked its usual chill. Instead, it held a bit of embarrassment. She lowered her head, gently blew on the spoon, and took a sip. The next second, her eyes lit up. It was a taste sensation she had never experienced before. The flavors of the wine, the beef, the herbs, everything melded perfectly into a warm current that flowed from her tongue straight to her stomach, instantly smoothing out the exhaustion and irritation of the day. Elena Sterling grew up in luxury. What delicacy hadn't she tasted? She had hired 3-star Michelin chefs to cook in her home, but no dish had ever given her such visceral comfort. This stew seemed to contain a power that warmed the heart. She looked up at me, currently burying my face in my bowl, her eyes filled with disbelief. How many more surprises was this man hiding? Conquered. If you want to capture a woman's heart, you have to capture her stomach first. The ancients didn't lie. Once she falls in love with my cooking, will she refuse to give me half the assets? Then I'll take the money, open a private kitchen, serve only 10 guests a day, open whenever I feel like it. That life. Even gods would be jealous. The trace of warmth Elena had just felt was instantly extinguished by my grand blueprint. So he makes such delicious food just to scam me out of my money. She felt both angry and amused. Angry that he talked about money every 3 sentences. Amused that she had actually felt touched for a second. She put down her bowl, wiped the corner of her mouth, and resumed her Ice Queen CO persona. The taste is adequate. I roll my eyes. Adequate? The light in your eyes just now almost blinded me, and you're still acting tough. Women, truly creatures who say one thing and mean another. Elena ignored my internal roasting. She looked at me and suddenly asked, "Have you always been this good at cooking?" "Pretty much. It's a hobby," I answered casually. Why didn't I know? I almost choked on my soup. "Lady, we've been married 3 years. The total number of sentences we've exchanged is less than 100. How would you know? Every day you come home looking like you want to sanitize me with bleach. Did I ever have a chance to show off?" I complained wildly in my head but said aloud, "You never asked." Elena was struck speechless. It was true. She had never cared about him. In her eyes, he was just a tool who married into the family for money, an incompetent, cowardly existence that brought her shame. She never thought to understand him, nor did she deign to. But now, she realized she was wrong. Dead wrong. This man was like a puzzle. On the surface, plain and boring, but inside, hiding endless treasures waiting to be discovered. And she seemed to be the first and only person to find the treasure map. It was a strange feeling. We finished the meal in a weird silence. Elena actually broke character and ate 2 bowls. Seeing her looking unsatisfied even after finishing, I was secretly delighted. Hook, line, and sinker. After eating, I leaned back on the sofa, ready to enjoy a post-meal chill session. Elena didn't leave. She sat opposite me, holding a cup of tea, seeming like she had something to say. "I'll handle the Julian Thorne situation," she said. "I will make him pay back 10 times the losses from Project Star." Her tone was calm, but the murderous intent within it made even me, a bystander, shiver. Ooh, the love-struck brain is finally offline. Nice. Giving off those domineering CEO vibes. That's how it should be. Can't be soft on scumbags. Ideally, bankrupt him, make him live on the streets. That would be satisfying. Hearing my thoughts, the corner of Elena's mouth hooked up in an imperceptible arc. "As you wish," she said softly. "Huh, I didn't catch it. What did you say?" "Nothing." Elena put down her teacup. "Tomorrow, accompany me to a gala." "No way." I refused immediately. "Are you kidding? Galas are a pain. A bunch of people wearing fake smiles, blowing smoke up each other's skirts. I'd rather sleep at home." "You have to go." Elena's tone brokered no refusal. "It's the Vance family gala in Greenwich. Vanessa Vance specifically asked to see you." "Vanessa Vance?" I searched my brain for the name. "Oh, right. Another vicious antagonist in the book, Elena's arch-rival, and a rich heiress who looked down on the original Ryan. In the book, she frequently humiliated Ryan in public to strike at Elena. Vanessa Vance? That busted, brainless woman. She asked for me? She's definitely up to no good. Probably cooked up some new way to humiliate me and laugh at Elena. Fine, I'll go. Who's afraid of who? It's been a while since I watched a circus act. Tomorrow I'll wear flip-flops and board shorts. Piss off those pretentious snobs. Elena. She felt that tomorrow's gala was going to be very exciting. She was actually starting to look forward to it. Tomorrow afternoon at 7. The driver will be waiting at the door. Elena stood up, looking down at me. Also, no flip-flops. With that, she walked upstairs in her high heels without looking back, leaving me alone and confused on the sofa. How did she know I wanted to wear flip-flops? Did she put a camera in my room? Holy crap, this woman is scheming. Terrifying. On the staircase landing, Elena heard my thoughts and stumbled, almost tripping. She held onto the railing, laughing and crying at the same time. This man's brain wiring was truly different from normal people. The next afternoon, I ultimately failed to wear flip-flops to the gala. Elena had the butler deliver a top-tier, handmade Armani suit, complete with cufflinks, tie, and leather shoes. I looked at the devastatingly handsome man in the mirror and nodded with satisfaction. Damn, clothes really do make the man. The ancients were right. With this face, this physique, and this outfit, I am a walking pheromone dispenser. Elena has good taste. But I wonder if dressing me up this nicely implies some ulterior motive. Does she want to show me off at the party? Like, hey look, this is my trophy husband? Sigh. Being a hottie is so much pressure. I adjusted my tie and walked downstairs. In the living room, Elena had been waiting for a while. Today she was wearing a moonlight white gown, the hem dotted with crushed diamonds that sparkled under the lights. Her long hair was pinned up, revealing a swan-like neck. Her cold aura was mixed with an ethereal, fairy-like vibe. Even though I roasted her constantly in my head, I had to admit, in this moment she was breathtaking. Goddess. I couldn't help but praise her internally. Hearing my thought, Elena's body stiffened imperceptibly. She looked up, met my eyes, and the tips of her ears turned slightly pink. I cleared my throat, masking my moment of distraction. Let's go. She hummed an okay and walked over, actively looping her arm through mine. Her arm was cool, the skin smooth like fine silk. A faint scent of gardenias drifted into my nose, making my mind wander. Holy SHD. She initiated the arm hold. Is the glacier melting? She smells so good. Gardenias. No. Ryan, hold it together. You are a man who wants to retire. Do not be moved by beauty. Money. Think about the settlement money. My mind was at war, but my body honestly stood up straighter, letting her hold on. Elena could clearly feel the muscles in my arm tighten instantly. She could also clearly hear my chaotic and hilarious internal struggle. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but tilt upward. It was her first genuine smile of the day. Although faint, it was enough to sweeten the air around us. The driver and butler in the front seat saw this through the rearview mirror, and their eyes almost popped out. Mr. and Mrs. Cole, reconciled, and the always stoic madam actually smiled. This was the miracle of the century. The Vance family gala was held at a private estate in the suburbs. Celebrities, high society, the scent of expensive perfume and money. When Elena and I appeared, we immediately drew everyone's attention. There was no helping it. Our visuals were too powerful. One cold as the moon, one sturdy as a pine. Standing together, we looked like a match made in heaven. Isn't that CEO Sterling? Who's the guy? He's gorgeous. Who else? That useless husband of hers. Useless? If looking like that is useless, what are we? What's the use of being handsome? He's still a moocher. I heard Elena is sick of him. My expression didn't change. Here it comes. The classic NPC taunting segment. Laugh all you want. You'll be shocked soon enough. Today, I'm going to make sure my wife is the brightest star in the room. No one steals her thunder. Hearing my thoughts, warmth flowed through Elena's heart. Holding my arm, she unconsciously tightened her grip. Just then, a woman in a fiery red dress with heavy makeup walked over, hips swaying. Vanessa Vance. Elena, you finally made it. I've been waiting ages. Vanessa smiled broadly, but her eyes were like knives, landing on me. Well, isn't this young Master Ryan? How'd you find time to join us for business today? I thought you only knew how to cook and babysit at home. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried enough for the surrounding circle to hear. A wave of suppressed snickering rippled through the crowd. Elena's face instantly turned cold. But I smiled, and the villain arrives. This dialogue hasn't changed in 10 years. Can we get some new material? What's wrong with cooking and staying home? Does cooking stop your chest from growing? Oh, wait. Seems like it hindered your brain development instead. Puffed. Elena couldn't hold it back. She laughed. Although she quickly wiped the smile off her face, sharp-eyed Vanessa caught it. Vanessa's face turned ugly instantly. Elena laughed. Because of this loser. How dare she? Elena Sterling, what are you laughing at? Vanessa snapped, embarrassed and angry. Elena glanced at her indifferently, her tone flat but crushing. I was laughing at my husband's sense of humor. Unlike some people who only know how to tell jokes that lack class. Dead silence. Everyone looked at Elena like she was an alien. The CEO was defending her useless husband and praising his humor. Did the world turn upside down? Vanessa was stunned too. She pointed at me, then at Elena, too angry to speak. You. I watched her furious face, delighted. Yes, exactly that face. You mad? You upset? You thought I came to get roasted, but I came to watch the show. Elena, nice work. Gold star for you. Hearing my internal praise, Elena suppressed a smile, kept a straight face, and said to Vanessa, Miss Vance, if there's nothing else, we'll excuse ourselves. With that, she steered me past everyone's shocked gazes, straight toward the center of the ballroom. In that moment, looking at her back, she was a queen charging in a battle for me. Deep in my heart, the string labeled, just want to retire, seemed to be gently plucked. The atmosphere at the gala turned weird after that little interlude. Everyone's eyes kept darting toward us, full of investigation and curiosity. Elena completely ignored them, grabbed a glass of champagne from a waiter's tray, and handed it to me. I don't drink wine. I refused directly. Smells like horse pee. Even dogs wouldn't drink it. I'd rather go home and drink the rice wine I brewed myself. Elena's hand froze midair. Then she casually retracted it and grabbed a juice for me instead. Sorry, I forgot, she whispered. I paused. She apologized to me. The Ice Queen knows the words I'm sorry. Is the earth going to explode tomorrow? But wait, how did she know I don't drink wine? I don't think I ever told her. I looked at her suspiciously. Elena felt awkward under my gaze and looked away. She couldn't exactly say, I heard your thoughts yesterday, so I memorized it. Last time at the house, you took the 2 cases of Lafite that Julian sent and used them to water the flowers. She invented a reason. I realized. Oh, right. That happened. I remember roasting it, saying it was a waste of good soil. I didn't think she remembered. TSK. This woman pays attention to detail. I felt pretty good about it, corners of my mouth ticking up. Elena saw my goofy grin and couldn't help smiling too. Not far away, Vanessa and a few wealthy heiresses were huddled together, pointing at us. Vanessa, did you see that? Elena is acting like she's possessed today, actually protecting that waist, right? And smiling at him. I've known her for years, never seen her smile at anyone. Vanessa gripped her wine glass until her knuckles turned white. Just putting on a show, she gritted out. I don't believe Elena can tolerate him forever. Just wait for the main event. She had arranged everything. The highlight of tonight's gala was the charity auction. She had prepared a specific item just to humiliate Ryan and Elena in public. Soon, the host went on stage and announced the start of the charity auction. The first few items were jewelry and art, snapped up by various tycoons. The atmosphere was lively. Finally, it was time for Vanessa's main event. The host introduced it with exaggerated flair. This next item is very special. It is an exclusive, handwritten score of a piano composition for Elena, personally composed by our famous young pianist, Mr. Julian Thorne. As soon as the words fell, the crowd went wild. Everyone's eyes shot toward Elena and me beside her. Julian wrote a song for Elena, and now it was being auctioned. This was a slap in the face to me, the legitimate husband. I felt Elena's body stiffen instantly. I looked down and saw she was pale, biting her lip. Wow, that's dirty. Auctioning the ex-crush's love token right in front of the current husband? Julian and Vanessa. Those 2 trash bags deserve each other. Elena probably wants to crawl into a hole right now. Poor girl. While sympathizing with her, I was also getting ready to enjoy the show. Vanessa walked onto the stage triumphantly, taking the microphone. This piece represents Julian's most sincere blessings for Elena. We all know they were once a match made in heaven, but fate plays tricks. She trailed off, glancing meaningfully at me. So, I hope someone with heart will bid on this blessing today, putting a perfect period on their unfulfilled romance. She looked provocatively at Elena. The meaning was clear. Elena, if you still have feelings, buy it yourself. If you don't buy it, you're disrespecting Julian. And as for me, whether Elena bought it or not, I would be the laughingstock. What a vicious trap. Starting bid, $1, Vanessa announced with a smirk. The price was purely insulting. The room was dead silent. No one bid. Everyone was watching us, waiting for Elena's reaction. Elena's hand on her glass was shaking from attention. I knew she was in a dilemma. Just then, I lazily raised my hand. I bid $2. Everyone's gaze snapped from Elena to me. Shock, confusion, disdain, mockery. Vanessa looked like she heard the world's funniest joke and laughed loudly. $2? Ryan, are you joking? Do you know what kind of event this is? I dug a finger in my ear, looking innocent. Wasn't the starting bid $1? I bid $2. I doubled it. What's the problem? There's a problem, a big problem. I'm here to cause chaos. You want to use this trash song to disgust my wife? Not on my watch. It's just a crappy song, acting like it's a treasure. With Julian's three-legged cat skills, the song probably sounds worse than a nursery rhyme. Hearing my thoughts, Elena snapped her head up, looking at me in disbelief. He is standing up for me. Warmth flooded her limbs instantly. Vanessa laughed, so hard she shook. Doubled? Ryan, you really think you're someone. I bid $1 million. She jacked the price up to a ridiculous level. She wanted to tell everyone that Ryan couldn't even pull out $1 million. He was trash. I curled my lip. $1 million for a pile of scrap paper? This woman really is all chest and no brains. Whatever. Not playing with idiots. I lowered my hand and leaned back, adopting a pose that said, you guys play, I'm chilling. Everyone thought I had chickened out and started jeering. Vanessa was triumphant. However, just as the gavel was about to fall, a cold voice rang out. $10 million. It was Elena. She stood up, staring coldly at Vanessa on stage. My husband thinks this song isn't worth money, but I can't let Mr. Thorne's sentiments be insulted by a number like $1 million. She paused. Then her tone turned biting. However, since it is an auction, there are rules. She looked at the host. I like to ask, can we inspect the goods on site? The host was stunned. Inspect? CEO Sterling, you mean? I mean, Elena's gaze swept the room and landed on me, her eyes holding a slyness I couldn't read. Since it's a piano piece, we should hear it played to know if it's good or bad, right? My husband happens to know a little piano. Dead silence. Everyone looked at Elena like she was crazy. Then, they looked at me like I was an idiot. Ryan Cole knows piano. Is this an international joke? Everyone knew he was a good-for-nothing waste who knew nothing but spending his wife's money. Let him play piano? He probably didn't even know how many keys were on a keyboard. Vanessa laughed until tears came out. Elena, do you have a fever? Let him play. Are you trying to treat everyone to a comedy show called Casting Pearls Before Swine? Laughter erupted around the room. I was confused too. What is this woman doing? When did I ever say I knew piano? Oh, I remember. The original Ryan took a piano elective in college, but he was beginner level. Struggled to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Is she trying to humiliate me? No, she just offended me. Is this some new couple kink? Push me to the edge and then save me like a goddess? Rich people are weird. While I was freaking out internally, Elena shot me a reassuring look. She didn't speak, but I strangely understood her meaning. Trust me, I steal my heart. Screw it. I'll die a hero. At worst, I'll go up there and bang out chopsticks. It's not just me losing face anyway. As long as I'm not embarrassed, everyone else is. I stood up, adjusted my suit, and, under the gaze of everyone expecting a disaster, walked step by step toward the expensive Steinway piano in the center of the stage. I took a deep breath and sat down. My fingers gently rested on the black and white keys. The cold touch triggered a flood of unfamiliar memories. Not the original host's memories. My own from my past life. I was just a corporate drone, But to chase a girl in music school, I had practiced piano bitterly for 3 years. I didn't get the girl, but the skill was drilled into my bones. I hadn't realized that after transmigrating, this skill I had long forgotten came with me. The corners of my mouth lifted into a confident smile. God is helping me. Julian, Vanessa, you two just wait. Today I'm going to show you what a real skills gap looks like. Hearing my thoughts, Elena finally let out the breath she was holding. She knew this man wouldn't let her down. I closed my eyes, letting the emotion build. Then my fingers fell. A cascade of fluid, magnificent notes poured from my fingertips like water. Not Julian's pretentious for Elena, but a piece I loved in my past life, Lis La Campanella. This piece is famous for its extreme technical difficulty and brilliant melody. Bell tones, mimicry, rapid repetitions, huge leaps, octaves. I mastered every flashy section perfectly. The entire ballroom was instantly pulled into a magnificent world constructed of notes. Everyone's expressions shifted from mockery and disdain to shock, then to utter, slack-jawed stupefaction. They stood with mouths open, eyes wide, as if witnessing an impossible miracle. Vanessa's smile froze on her face like a grotesque mask. Below the stage, Elena watched me shining brilliantly, her gaze entranced. She knew he could play, but she didn't know he could play this well. That confident spirit, the fluid technique, the aura controlling the room. In this moment, he was so dazzling she couldn't look away. Bang! With the final chord, I lifted my hands with a flourish. The room remained dead silent, until someone, somewhere, started clapping. Then, thunderous applause erupted, shaking the rafters. It lasted for a long time. I stood up, gave a gentlemanly bow to the audience. Then, I picked up a microphone, looking straight at the pale Vanessa and Julian, who had appeared beside her at some point. I just played Mr. Thorns for Elena in my head. The structure is loose, the chords are repetitive, and the emotion is superficial. It's full of whiny pretension. Calling it a nursery rhyme is an insult to nursery rhymes. I bid $2. $1 for the scrap paper, and the other dollar is compensation for Mr. Thorne's mental anguish. Because to write something like this, Mr. Thorne's inner world must be truly barren. With every sentence I spoke, Julian's face went a shade whiter. By the last sentence, he looked like a corpse teetering on his feet. You're lying, he shouted furiously. Whether I'm lying or not, everyone here has ears, I smiled, handing the mic to the host. 10 million for a pile of trash. Sterling Corp has money, but we don't burn it. My wife's money shouldn't be spent foolishly, so we don't want this song. With that, I turned around and under everyone's reverent, worshipping gazes, walked off the stage straight to Elena. I held out my hand in an inviting gesture. Beautiful lady, may I have the honor of taking you away from this boring place? Elena looked at me, her eyes shimmering with light, filled with laughter and tenderness. She placed her hand gently in my palm. My honor, sir. We smiled at each other, and under the complex gaze of the entire room, walked out of the ballroom without looking back, leaving behind a shattered farce and 2 clowns who had become a joke. In the car on the way back, the atmosphere was unusually quiet. Elena and I sat side by side, neither speaking, but the air was thick with a vague, ambiguous tension. My hand was still holding hers. Her hand was soft, slightly cool, and felt comfortable to hold. I didn't want to let go, and she didn't seem to want to pull away either. TSK, does this count as a successful date? Progress is a bit fast. But honestly, the Ice Queen's hand feels nice. If only I could. Cough, stop. Ryan, you're a gentleman, but the way she looked at me just now. So gentle, like water. Does she really love me? What do? I just wanted a divorce and split the assets. I didn't plan on dating her. I was tangling myself in knots mentally when Elena suddenly spoke. Thank you. Her voice was soft, with a barely detectable tremor. Thank me for what? I asked, knowing the answer. Thank you for everything you did for me tonight. She turned her head, her beautiful eyes fixing on me, shining with a light I'd never seen before. I felt a bit shy under her gaze and tried to pull my hand back. She tightened her grip. Ryan, she said my name, her tone more serious than ever before. Let's not get divorced, okay? My pupils quaked. Not get divorced. Lady, don't scare me. What happened to the abuse the wife for a while, chase the wife into the crematorium trope? Why did the script change to domineering female CEO falls for me? I just played a song and acted cool. Was that enough? Where's your coldness? Your disdain? Did the dog eat it? Elena heard my internal screaming clearly. She almost couldn't keep a straight face. This man always managed to ruin the most romantic moments with his ridiculous inner monologue. She took a deep breath, forcing the topic back. You played very well, she said. Better than anyone I know. Oh, it was okay. Just casual playing, I said modestly. Are you kidding? I was known as the prince of the practice room back in the day. If not for needing to pay bills, I would have entered the Chopin competition. Alas, a hero with no battlefield. Elena, she decided to ignore my narcissism. How many other things can you do that I don't know about? She looked at me with curiosity. No, nothing else. Showed all my cards. I shook my head vigorously. Just kidding. I have tons of skills. Master of all 8 culinary traditions. Know a bit of chess and painting. Brewing liquor is my specialty. All right, I can also drive a Ferrari with one hand. Can I tell you this? If I do, you'll never let me divorce. I don't want to be a trophy husband forever. Elena listened to my internal skill list, her eyes getting brighter and brighter. So, he didn't just cook and play piano. He could brew wine, paint. What kind of treasure was this man? She suddenly felt that the idea of divorce was the stupidest thought she had ever had in her life. Absolutely not. This man had to be hers. A bold idea formed in her mind. Ryan, she looked at me, eyes burning. Do you feel that being a son-in-law in the Sterling family is humiliating? My heart skipped a beat. How does she know? Did my face betray me? Whatever, we're at this point. Might as well be honest. I nodded and said solemnly, yes. Good. Elena took a deep breath as if making a major decision. From today on, you don't have to be the son-in-law anymore. My eyes lit up. She's letting me go, giving me the settlement. Happiness comes so suddenly. I was just preparing a polite speech like, I wish you happiness, when Elena's next words struck me like lightning. I've decided, she said word by word. From tomorrow, I, Elena Sterling, will become the trophy wife. I'm chasing you. Me? I was completely dumbfounded. Chasing? Me? Lady, did you get it wrong? I have a generic background. My parents are retired in a condo. You, a billionaire CEO, want to chase me. For what? For my outstanding debt. This script. Isn't it getting a little too wild? The driver in the front seat heard this. His hand slipped, and the car almost swerved into the landscaping. He stabilized the car, sweating profusely, daring not to listen anymore. The world of the rich is too crazy. Elena watched my stunned face, finding it both funny and sweet. She wanted to use this method to show him her determination. She wanted him to know she valued him as a person, not for anything else. What? You're not willing? She deliberately put on a stern face. I opened my mouth, unable to say a word. It's not about willing or not. I'm afraid my parents' hearts can't take the shock. Since Elena announced she was going to chase me, she acted like a different person. Before, she ignored me. Now it was 360-degree, high-definition care. I'd still be sleeping in the morning, and she'd already have the chef prepare my favorite Chinese-style breakfast. I went to the gym, and she was there handing me towels and water, staring at me with sparkling eyes like a fangirl. It got so bad I almost pulled a muscle doing O'Brien's. Lady, can you stop staring? Lots of pressure here. I admit my 8-pack is awesome, my V-line is sexy, but do you have to be so obvious about thirsting over my body? Hearing my thoughts, Elena blushed, but her eyes didn't dodge. Instead, she boldly scanned my abs. She even reached out a finger and poked my solid stomach. Feels nice, she commented with a straight face. Me? Holy crap. She touched me. This woman has gone bad. A warrior can be killed, but not humiliated. Touching the abs requires taking responsibility. I was internally righteous with indignation when Elena leaned in and whispered in my ear, only loud enough for us to hear. Okay, I'll take responsibility. Her warm breath hit my ear, making it tingle. I shuddered, almost falling off the machine. I looked at her in horror. How did she know what I was thinking? A terrifying thought struck my brain like lightning. I turned my head stiffly to look at Elena's smiling eyes. Tentatively, I recited a line in my head. Elena is a little pig. Elena's smile froze instantly. Elena is the world's prettiest little pig. The corner of Elena's mouth twitched. Elena is the world's prettiest little pig who is helplessly in love with me. Eddie. And Elena gritted out my name. Her pretty face flushed red. Whether from anger or embarrassment, I couldn't tell. It was over. Case solved. I looked at her. She looked at me. The whole world seemed to stop. I finally understood why she had been acting so weird lately. Why she knew the project had loopholes. Why she knew I didn't drink wine. Why she knew I wanted to wear flip-flops. Why she suddenly said she loved me. It turned out she had a VIP seat inside my brain this whole time. You, when did it start? I asked with difficulty, my voice cracking. Since the day you tore up the divorce papers. Elena took a deep breath and laid her cards on the table. My vision went black. I almost fainted. Does that mean she heard all my grand plans about splitting the assets, harem of women, and finding a place to do nothing? And my secret roast about her being an ice queen, love-struck brain, and blind? Social death. Massive social death scene. I wanted to dig a 3-bedroom apartment out of the floor and crawl inside. No face left to see people. My image as a wise and mighty hero is ruined. She must think I'm a pervert with a brain full of trash. Seeing my look of utter despair, whatever anger Elena had vanished. She just found it funny. So he wasn't fearless. He just didn't know. She stepped forward, took my hand, and said softly, I don't think you're a pervert. I think. She paused, her eyes becoming incredibly serious. You're cute. I jerked my head up to look at her. There was no mockery in her eyes, no disdain, only fullness of sincerity and pampering. Cute. She used cute to describe me. Does this woman misunderstand something? I am clearly a domineering alpha male. Elena finally couldn't hold it back and laughed. Her smile was like ice melting, spring returning to the earth. I watched her smile entranced. Ryan, she smiled at me. Now, can we have a proper talk? Talk? About what? I hadn't fully recovered. Talk about our future. Her gaze was gentle and firm. In that moment, the wall in my heart labeled just want to retire seemed to crack open. After the big reveal, the invisible barrier between Elena and me completely disappeared. Although I still roasted her in my head occasionally, the nature of it had changed. Before it was enemy combatant, now it was internal friction, or rather, couples banter. Yes, couple. I don't know when I defaulted to this identity. Maybe because her eyes were too gentle, or maybe because her cooking was so bad it triggered a strong protective instinct in me. Yes, since the reveal, CEO Sterling, who had never touched dishwater, became obsessed with cooking for me. Here, try my new cola chicken wings. She pushed a plate of black, unidentified objects toward me with a look of anticipation. I looked at the plate and fell in a deep thought. This is cola chicken wings? This looks like wings dug out of coal mine. If I eat this, am I going to meet the Grim Reaper tonight? No, I can't eat it. If I die, who inherits my debt? I was trying to find an excuse to run when Elena looked at me with those big, watery eyes, her voice soft and pleading. I worked on it all morning, even burned my hand. She held out her slender hand. Indeed, there were a few small red marks. My heart softened. Forget it. Sacrifice for righteousness. Today is the day. It's just a plate of wings. What does Ryan Cole have to fear? Worst case scenario is diarrhea. I'll be a hero again in 24 hours. With the resignation of a man going to the gallows, I picked up a piece of charcoal and put it in my mouth. The next second, my expression froze. Elena asked nervously, How is it? Good. I chewed with difficulty, then gave her a thumbs up. Good. Too good. It's just. The flavor is unique. Salty. Deadly salty. Did she mistake the salt jar for the sugar jar? This level of skill is truly hard to achieve. But seeing her look so expectant, I can't crush her. Okay, I'll eat another one to encourage her. Enduring double trauma to my taste buds and physiology, I picked up another piece. Elena watched me devouring the food, her eyes smiling into crescents. She picked up a piece herself, ready to taste her handiwork. My heart jumped. Don't eat it. It's toxic. I moved fast, snatching the wing from her chopsticks and stuffing it into my mouth. Cough, cough. I choked on the saltiness. It was too good, I couldn't help it. Don't fight me for them. They're all mine. Elena stared at me blankly, and then, Her eyes slowly turned red. She heard everything. She knew how awful the dish was. She knew he was forcing it down just so she wouldn't be disappointed. He even stole the one from her chopsticks, so she wouldn't have to taste the awful flavor. This fool. How could there be such a silly, gentle man in this world? She put down her chopsticks and gently hugged my waist from behind. Her cheek pressed against my back, her voice muffled. Ryan, you're so good. My body stiffened. Here we go again. She's turning on the charm. Hugging so tight, my abs are getting deformed. But she smells really good. Being held like this feels not bad. While I was secretly enjoying it, a breaking news notification popped up on my phone. Sterling Group stock skyrockets due to CEO husband sleep talking. I clicked it open and was dumbfounded. The news said a financial reporter had interviewed me a few days ago, asking about the future development of Sterling Group. At the time, I had just woken up from a nap and groggily replied, "Don't ask me. I know nothing. I just want to sleep." The market interpreted this as the heavy hitter behind Sterling Group is extremely confident in the company's status, confident enough to sleep soundly without worry. What did this mean? It meant the company's future was bright, so the investors went crazy. Sterling Group's stock hit the daily limit for 3 days straight. My sleep talk was turned into a meme and went viral. Ryan didn't get out of bed today became the #1 trending topic. I looked at the news, jaw on the floor. This actually works? I really just wanted to sleep? Are investors' brains wired differently, making money while lying down? This is the highest realm of the retirement life. As I marveled, Elena shook with laughter behind me. She hugged me and whispered in my ear, "Yes, this is all your credit. My God of doing nothing." She gave me a special nickname. Although it was a bit cheesy, for some reason, hearing it made my heart feel sweet. Life seemed to be sprinting in a direction I had never anticipated, sweet, ridiculous, and wild. And I didn't seem to hate the feeling. Maybe doing nothing together wouldn't be such a bad choice.